Hello and welcome to the Hard Work Smart podcast, again with Gosia.
Hello.
And today we're gonna talk about recruiting and looking for a job. And I wanted to address a topic that is very painful for me and that I want to bring here. Which is why there is so much disrespect in recruiting and when you are looking for a job. And basically what I mean is that, I don't know if it's your experience, but recently, first of all, the numbers game that you have to play in order to look for a job is very not human friendly, I would say, because you have to send basically 1,000 applications to get something around maybe 10 to 20 invitations for an interview. But even if you get invited for an interview, you will not go further in the process, and probably you will receive a very impersonal and a very anonymous feedback sent probably from a no reply email. And I think that all of this combined makes for a very bad experience for people, and I wanted to get your perspective, Gosia, on how we arrived here, basically. Why is it like that?
No, I don't know the answer, but it's true that the recruiting system is hard on people. It's very difficult to go through
the whole process.
Whole process, yes.
But do you feel also, as I am feeling, that it's filled with disrespect for people, basically?
Well, I think that when you have to fill in the forms and you know that when you are asked to put your salary expectations, that this is something, like in casino.
Yeah, you know that you will be basically filtered based on this criteria.
Yes, so this is
But why are you telling that it's like in a casino? Because it's not arranged, or because you would prefer that the employer actually states clearly what is the salary that they are willing to pay?
I think that it would be much easier when the salary is known. So this is the first point. And the second is that I would prefer to be chosen on my competences and not on the basis of my salary expectations. Of course, I know that it is important to be in some range, but it's difficult
to imagine the range.
To imagine at the beginning of the process, knowing just some, general profile of the role.
Yeah, I understand what you are talking about, but when you are stating that you would prefer to be chosen for your skill and for your competence rather than for a number that you have to guess, but let's try to play a little bit devil's advocate. If you were the recruiter, you probably have the budget. You know which budget you have. Why don't you want to state it in the job advert in the first place?
Well, I think it's because of your team that you have already.
So that the team does not know what is the budget.
No. What I would like to say that the salary in the company should be,
they should be transparent.
Okay. So if it's not transparent, and so it's difficult, I can imagine for companies to put the salary.
The people who work at the company basically would see what are you willing to pay to the new hire, and so
it's like asking for trouble,
This is something I have not thought about at all. But it's a valid point.
So it's like with working remotely, when you are negotiating your remote days with your future employer, very often there is this argument that even if this role could be remote, more than 2 days or 1 day per week, we just don't want to do this because we have our team and
the team is working different days.
Yes, so we prefer to have 1 day or 2 days for everybody, even if we know that presence is not so...
It's not required,
yes.
But in order not to rub the others the wrong way.
Your first question was whether I can see this disrespect.
Yeah, but I think that this is disrespect. What you have stated about, for example, the mandatory field where you have to enter a number, I think this is part of this disrespect. The numbers game, the fact that you have to send 1,000 applications in order to get 10 invitations for interviews. This is also disrespect, because do you think that there are people at the other end of the system that are looking for the CVs? No, you are just being filtered by an algorithm, probably an algorithm that is implemented in an ATS system, etc. So basically it becomes a game of how to get past through this filter.
I suppose that at the beginning this system, was imagined like to help HR people to deal with
of course,
like a lot of CVs. Yes,
you're right, but it very fast has transitioned to this kind of a middleman, an algorithmic middleman between a candidate and the company that is willing to hire, and I think this is disrespect. You are forced probably to redo your CV every time you are applying to a job, because each time it's a little different description of this job, and each time you know that because it's a system that is filtering you have to have certain words in your CV that match the job advert, or else you will not get through this algorithmic filter. And so if you were sure that there are people at the other end, even if you were conscious of the fact that they will have 5 seconds to look at your CV, well, at least that's people, so it's a human that can see a part of your experience, maybe. But here, it's like with Amazon, that if Amazon wants to downgrade your position in the search results, they can do it with, 1 line of a code, and basically you will never know this happened, and you will be unable to sell your product on Amazon. It's the same thing here.
But when I get the interview, I must say that I received the feedback after the interview.
Really?
Yes.
But is the feedback constructive and is helping you, or is it just empty phrases?
Well, sometimes it is constructive. Once I received a very hard feedback for me.
It was hard because it was true? Or
it was true.
Okay.
It was true. But I appreciated this feedback. It helped me to get better. I think that the second thing is that when we are talking about recruitment process, when you receive the job, and when you discover you are hired, that this is not exactly what you were told.
The job is different, actually.
Yes, the job is different, actually. But for example, you will travel much more than you expected, or that in the company...
It is not a remote position.
No.
No, it happens, people were hired, for example, at Dell 1 year ago with the policy of total remote work, and then they received an email saying now you have to decide whether you are remote or hybrid. And it was not stated in the job advert, of course. But please continue.
Well, I'm not talking about such a situation, because it can happen in the company.
Okay, so it's a change that was unforeseen.
Yes, but you think that in the relations in company are very respectful. Yes, because HR is very nice, and
but the HR is not for the employees.
And then you discover that it's not.
It's different.
Yes, it's different. So I think that it is also disrespectful, because it's a waste of time of the candidate and the company.
Yeah, it's lying to people, basically, because you say, well, the atmosphere is excellent, whether in reality, you know it's not excellent. The worst disrespect, besides the mandatory field with the salary, are the emails sent from no reply. Because basically, every time you receive such an email, the mere fact that it is sent from a no reply address, it's like showing you the middle finger, basically. You know, they can write anything they want in the email. You have no recourse. You cannot reply. You cannot ask a question. I would prefer receiving an email saying "fuck you," really, than receiving an email with, we have proceeded with another candidate. We are sorry. We appreciate your time, and you cannot reply to this email because the mailbox is not monitored.
I don't know why this is working like that, because I suppose that the people get the job because they know someone in the company, and for hiring manager, maybe it's better to hire someone who is known. So I don't know why we need this, job postings and etc.
No, but you are talking about another problem.
It is just for compliance.
It's just you are talking about ghost jobs. So the positions that exist online and that you can apply to, but that will never be filled actually. But I was talking about no reply emails, an email that you cannot reply to. Do you feel like I do, that it's disrespectful, or you think that it's just how the world is today?
Well, this is disrespectful, and I think that it's somebody's job to...
Yeah, but exactly, there are people that are making this recruitment process on the side of the company. They could send an email from their own address with the possibility to ask a question, don't you think?
It's better for the companies to have someone responding to such emails, because it's a company's image. This is the message, also the message.
Exactly, maybe it should be read like that. So if you receive a no reply feedback after an interview sent from a no reply address, it's basically also a message. It's like the company said, we are not treating you with due respect at the stage of the recruitment. Let's imagine what would it be when we hire you. I think that the recruitment process is for the candidate and for the employer. Basically, it should be read as a very bad branding. But you were talking also about ghost jobs. When you are on the job market long enough, basically you see those jobs that are never filled, that are from 3 years ago, the same exact description, and they are online always.
Look at the recruitment companies. They are just collecting CVs.
This is a little bit different because they want to have just a group of fresh CVs to present to their clients. But if it's a company, do you think that if a company has not filled a position since 3 years, it means that it is a growing company that is so dynamic that you want to work at that company? As candidates, what could we do in order to force the employers to be more respectful in the recruitment process?
Always ask for feedback when you can.
When you can, but if you can't?
I have no idea what to do. Try to find some hiring manager.
Call them. This is a good idea. I think it would be a very nice change if an employment agency existed, but an employment agency that is not representing employers, but that is representing the candidates. We can found one if you want, and we could treat it as a very nice boutique real estate agency, for example, and say we will only talk with a certain type of people. But it would be very clear that this agency is representing the candidate and not the employer. So in order to turn this, story around,
we can try. And maybe people are just, sending CVs, not reading
This happens also, but I think
and then you have a lot of CVs that are not...
You're right, but
are not fitting to the role. So, this is like...
You are right,
a big mess.
But for that, at least the ATS systems are okay, because if you state that you are looking for a programmer and you receive, barbarous CVs, basically it's very easy to filter that. Whereas if the company is looking for a project manager and you are stating that you are a project manager since 10 years, you should not be filtered out because, you have not used a bullet that is a star, but you have used a bullet that is round or something else. And this is basically what happens. And people don't look at your CV not because you have applied to the bad job, but basically because you have not used the preferred font that the algorithm that is making the filtering is liking.
So maybe these ATS systems should be changed because, hiring people are saying we cannot find right people, talent, and the people who are talented and looking for a job.
We cannot find a job.
And in the middle of that is this
the ATS
system that is not working. So instead of looking for a job,
become an entrepreneur. Bye.
Bye.